My E36 was fitted with front coilovers when I purchased it. These are just the cheap Max Speeding Rods brand from eBay. They're actually quite decent coilovers for the money, as other videos have shown. However, I had an issue where the front left side was making a clunking sound whenever I turned the wheel. So I pulled out the coilovers and found that one of the top pillow bowl mounts had seized. As you can see here, the bearing was very tight and did not move freely, compared with the other side, which performs as expected. Now I could buy new pillow ball mounts from the same manufacturer, but I decided on changing to the OEM BMW strut top mounts. I don't use my car for track use. It is a daily driver at the moment, so these pillow ball mounts do make the ride stiffer and louder. So switching to the OEM mounts with the bushing provides a smoother ride with no significant reduction in performance for my needs. So today I'll show you how I went about changing these top mounts. I had already done one coilover for testing, so this is the process for the second one. So first I went on Real OEM and found the part number for the OEM mounts. For me they were about $30 each from an Australian store. Then I removed the existing pillow ball mount by unscrewing the large nut. As you can see, there is this spacer which allows the mount to sit on the spring. Next, I removed the spring and placed the spring holder back on. This showed me the point where the coilover is at its lowest, so when the spring is under maximum load. With the OEM mounts, as you can see, the bearing hole is not large enough to allow the mount to sit on the spring. It gets stuck on the strut. The spaces from the pillow ball mount allow it to move freely from the strut, so it can sit on the spring. So I needed to find something that would allow this for the OEM mounts. I went to a nut and bolt shop to find these large 14mm spacers. They're way thicker than I need, but it's not a problem. As you can see, it's about the same height as the original spacers, and when sitting on the spring, it is high enough to allow the OEM mount to sit comfortably on the spring as required, even under maximum load. I also needed to purchase this dust protection collar for the bearing and a covering cap to keep the bearing sealed off from the environment. Since I was just testing coilovers at this stage, I did not buy these yet. So after giving the coilover a quick clean, I placed all the parts back on, including the new spacer and mount. Then before the top nut, there is a 14mm washer. I had some washers of this size lying around, so I didn't need to purchase new ones. Then I placed the nut on and tightened it up. It needs to be quite tight. I even made use of the C-spanner to help tighten the nut even more. So since these new mounts added extra height, I needed to lower the coilovers to maintain the same ride height as before. As you can see, I already did this for one coilover. Adjusting the height is simple. I just cleaned off the strut, then loosened the lower collar and moved it up. Then screwed down the coilover to lower it. Due to these mounts being quite large, I had to lower my coilovers to the lowest position they could go. Then after tightening up the collar, everything is done. So now I just needed to reinstall the coilovers into the car. The old pillow ball mounts have been replaced with new, smoother mounts, which won't wear out as quickly. This process was fairly easy and quite cheap. Steering is now smoother, there's no more clunking, and the ride is less stiff, which is nice for city driving. I'll be keeping this modification until I can afford higher quality coilovers. So thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.